Caleb Morgan loved working with machines. The garage in his grandfather's old house was his favorite place in the world. It smelled of oil and metal, and the walls were lined with shelves full of nuts, bolts, and tools. Caleb's grandfather had always said that if something was broken, it could be fixed. Caleb had taken that lesson to heart. Every day after school, he would come here, tinkering with old engines, radios, and sometimes even lawnmowers that had long stopped working. This evening was different. The sky outside was painted with streaks of pink and orange as the sun went down. The garage felt quiet, almost too quiet. Caleb was cleaning a set of rusty wrenches when he looked up and saw it, the old freight elevator in the corner. It had always been there, covered in dust and cobwebs. Caleb had never paid much attention to it. The elevator looked like a square metal box with a sliding door and a control panel full of buttons. It had never worked. His grandfather had joked that it went nowhere and that it was just a big metal box for dreams. Caleb felt a strange pull toward it that evening. He walked over and ran his fingers along the cold metal. The control panel was scratched and faded, but he noticed that some of the wiring inside the panel looked loose. He opened it carefully and saw wires that were frayed, connectors that were bent, and a small gear that had fallen out of place. It looked like a simple job. "Why not fix it?" Caleb muttered to himself. "It can't hurt to try." He spent the next hour cleaning the inside of the panel, reconnecting wires and tightening screws. He used tools he had carefully organized on the bench, working methodically. Every step he took seemed normal, almost ordinary. Yet Caleb had no idea that this elevator was not ordinary at all. After finishing the repairs, he wiped his hands on a rag and pressed the large green button on the control panel. At first, nothing happened. The lights on the panel flickered weakly, then grew brighter. A low hum began inside the elevator. Caleb stepped back, startled. The elevator floor vibrated gently, and for a moment he thought it might collapse. Then, slowly, the door slid open with a soft mechanical sigh. He peered inside. The elevator looked normal at first, metal walls, a clean floor, and a small light overhead. Caleb hesitated. There was nothing in the elevator, nothing moved. Nothing should have moved, he frowned. Curiosity got the better of him. Caleb stepped inside. He pressed a button marked 1, assuming it would take him down to the garage floor. The elevator hummed louder. Then it happened. The floor beneath him seemed to disappear for a second. He felt a strange lightness, like floating in zero gravity. The lights flickered and the hum grew louder. Caleb gripped the side rail and closed his eyes. Then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. The elevator floor felt solid again. The lights were steady. The hum was gone. Caleb opened his eyes and looked around. The elevator had not moved. It was still in the same garage. He frowned. "That was weird," he said softly. "Maybe I rewired something wrong." He stepped out carefully. The garage looked exactly the same as before, except for a faint shimmer along the floor near the elevator. Caleb bent down and touched it. It felt normal, solid metal, but the light shimmered briefly under his fingers. He shook his head. "I must be imagining things," he muttered. The next few days were strange. Caleb kept thinking about the elevator. He tested it again and again, each time making small adjustments. Each time the same thing happened. The elevator hummed, shook lightly, or the lights flickered. Sometimes he thought he heard faint voices like whispers, but he would find nothing when he opened the door. Caleb did not know it yet, but every repair he made sent signals far beyond Earth. The elevator was not just a piece of metal. It was an ancient machine left behind by humans centuries ago. Or at least, humans who had long left Earth. The elevator had been a transit node, a hidden doorway to places humans could never imagine. For decades, it had been silent, waiting. And now, Caleb's curiosity had woken it. He spent evenings reading his grandfather's notebooks. They were filled with strange sketches, strange symbols, and notes about machines that seemed almost alive. His grandfather had been a clever man, but he had been careful never to explain what the elevator really was. Caleb did not understand the full meaning of the notes, but he felt that they were connected to the machine. One night around 10 o'clock, Caleb stayed later than usual. The sky was dark, and the garage was lit only by a single hanging bulb. He decided to try one final adjustment before going to bed. He tightened a loose wire, replaced a small gear, and pressed the green button. This time, the elevator did not just hum. It glowed faintly with a blue light. Caleb's heart raced. The floor vibrated and the humming grew louder. He stepped back in awe. Then the elevator door slid open and something unusual appeared inside. A figure stood there wearing a metallic suit that shimmered in the light. Caleb froze. The figure was human-like with a pale face and serious eyes. She raised her hand in greeting. "Hello," Caleb asked cautiously. "Don't be afraid," the woman said. Her voice was calm, almost musical. "I am Lena Brooks. I think you have opened something you shouldn't have." Caleb's mouth went dry. I fixed this elevator. It's just an old machine." Lena shook her head. "It is not just a machine. Not to you maybe, but to others it is very important. You have activated something that should have remained hidden for centuries." Caleb tried to think. He had never imagined anything like this. "Hidden? I don't understand." "You have restored a human-made failsafe," Lena explained. "It was placed here a long time ago by people like you or your ancestors, long before Earth became what it is today. And now aliens are watching." Caleb's eyes widened. "Aliens watching me?" Lena nodded gravely. "Your repairs have sent a signal across the stars. Some civilizations believe humans are ready to join interstellar society. Others believe humans are a threat. They are preparing to act. You've unknowingly put your planet in danger." Caleb stepped back. I didn't mean to do anything. I just fixed the elevator." "That is why you are human," Lena said softly. "You repair, you improve, you don't realize the power of what you are touching." The elevator hummed again, softly this time. Caleb's hands shook. "What happens now?" "You must be careful," Lena said. "I will explain everything, but first you need to understand one thing. This is not just about a garage, a house, or even Earth. What you have done may start a war across the galaxy." Caleb felt the weight of her words. He had always thought that fixing broken things was simple, harmless work. He had never imagined that tightening a wire could reach stars far away, that a single gear replaced could ripple through the galaxy. For hours, Lena explained what the elevator really was and how it worked. Caleb listened, trying to understand. She spoke of transit nodes, hidden human colonies, and alien civilizations that had once feared humanity. Caleb realized that he was not just a mechanic now. He was part of something much larger, something he could not yet fully comprehend. By the time Lena finished, Caleb was exhausted. The garage felt smaller, as if it had shrunk under the weight of the galaxy. He looked at the elevator again. It looked ordinary once more, but he knew it was anything but ordinary. "I don't know if I can do anything," Caleb said quietly. "You can," Lena said. "You always can. That is why you fixed it in the first place. That is why humans survive." Caleb nodded slowly. He felt fear, yes, but also excitement. For the first time, he realized that human curiosity, human cleverness, and the simple act of fixing something could change everything. Outside, the wind blew through the trees and the stars began to shine. Caleb looked up, thinking about all the people out there in other worlds, watching and waiting. He had no idea what would come next, but one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same. He stepped back into the garage, feeling both small and powerful at the same time. The elevator sat quietly in the corner, its metal walls gleaming faintly under the single bulb. Caleb ran his fingers over the control panel again. Somewhere, far away, someone or something was watching. And somewhere, far away, something had already begun to move because of him. Caleb Morgan had fixed an elevator in his grandfather's garage, and he had unknowingly started a chain of events that could lead to a war across the stars. He did not know it yet, but the galaxy had noticed him. Caleb could hardly sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the elevator glowing faintly in the corner of the garage and remembered Lena's words about the galaxy watching. The thought that a simple repair could have consequences far beyond his imagination made his hands shake. He tried to tell himself it was impossible, that nothing like that could happen. Still, the strange feeling of being part of something much larger would not go away. The next morning, he returned to the garage earlier than usual. He found Lena already there. She had stayed the night in a small sleeping bag she had brought with her. Caleb had never seen someone look so serious yet calm at the same time. "Good morning," Caleb said, rubbing his eyes. "I didn't know you were staying here." "I thought it was better," Lena said, her voice quiet. "We need to watch the elevator, and we need to make sure no one else triggers it while you figure things out." Caleb nodded. "I still don't understand all of it." "How can this old elevator be important to anyone outside Earth?" Lena sat on a small wooden crate. "A long time ago, humans spread across many worlds. Some left Earth, some returned. The elevator you fixed is part of a network they created." It was designed to connect worlds and to keep humans safe, but it can also be dangerous if other civilizations see it. Caleb frowned. So what you're saying is because I fixed it, aliens now think we're ready? Yes, Lena said, and some of them are afraid. They don't know what humans will do, so they prepare for war. They see any activation as a threat. Caleb felt his stomach tight. War, but I just fixed a broken elevator. You did not start the war, Lena said firmly. But you started the signal, now we have to be careful. Some may try to attack, others may try to contact us, and some may want to study us. Caleb looked around the garage. It all seemed so small, so ordinary. Outside, the wind moved the branches of trees. A few birds flew past. Nothing seemed dangerous. And yet Lena's words made him feel like he was standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down into a place he could not even imagine. Can it take people somewhere? Caleb asked, pointing at the elevator. Lena shook her head. Not yet, it needs energy and calibration. Right now it only sends signals, but once it is fully active it can carry someone to another node in the network, to another world. Caleb thought about that. The idea was amazing and terrifying at the same time. So someone could come through it? Yes, Lena said. And someone will, soon. As if on cue, the elevator hummed again. The light above it flickered, growing brighter. Caleb and Lena exchanged a quick glance. The door slid open slowly. This time there was no person. Instead, a small floating device hovered inside. It was sleek and silver, about the size of a basketball. It had lights that pulsed in blue and green. Caleb took a cautious step forward. What is that? He asked. It is a scout, Lena said. Sent by an alien civilization. They are observing us. They want to know who activated the elevator and why. Caleb felt a chill run down his spine. He had never seen technology like this before. The device hovered silently, then extended a small arm with a glowing tip. It scanned the elevator and the garage, moving slowly but precisely. Lena moved closer to Caleb. Stay calm, it is not attacking, but if it senses hostility, it will call for reinforcements. Caleb nodded, trying to stay calm. He held out his hand toward the device. Hello, I guess. The device emitted a soft hum and a series of lights flashed. Then a small screen appeared on its surface, showing shapes and symbols Caleb did not recognize. Lena bent down to examine it. It is a communication device, she said. It can translate, but it takes time. It is trying to understand us. Caleb watched as the device continued scanning. It moved closer to the control panel, then hovered over the buttons. Caleb felt a strange connection, like the machine was studying him as much as he was studying it. Hours passed. The device stayed in the elevator, moving slowly and silently. Caleb tried not to touch it, not wanting to make a mistake. Lena explained that these scouts were intelligent in their own way. They could think, learn, and report back to their leaders. Why don't they just attack? Caleb asked finally. Because they are cautious, Lena said. They have seen humans before. Even humans who left Earth a long time ago. They know that humans are unpredictable, clever, and very good at surviving. Caleb felt a strange sense of pride. Even in fear, humans had a way of being noticed, of making a difference. He realized that his curiosity, the same curiosity that made him fix broken machines, had always been a strength. As the day went on, Caleb and Lena worked together. She showed him how to adjust some of the circuits in the elevator to stabilize the signals. Caleb followed her instructions carefully. Every adjustment he made seemed small, but Lena explained that it could change how the elevator was seen across the galaxy. Evening came, and the device finally reacted differently. It projected a thin beam of light toward Caleb and Lena. Symbols appeared in the air, forming shapes and patterns they could almost understand. Lena pointed at them. It is trying to communicate, she said. It is asking questions. Who are you? What are your intentions? Are you a threat? Caleb felt nervous. He had never imagined talking to an alien device. I'm Caleb. I fixed the elevator. I didn't mean any harm. Lena nodded. Good, keep it simple. That is all it needs for now. Caleb raised his hand slightly. We are human. We fix what is broken. We do not want to fight. The device pulsed and emitted a soft tone. Then it floated upward and left the elevator, hovering near the garage ceiling. A moment later, it shot upward through the roof, disappearing into the night sky. Caleb and Lena stared at the empty garage. Caleb exhaled slowly. That was incredible. Lena smiled faintly. It is only the beginning. Other civilizations are watching now. Some are curious, some are cautious, some may not wait to see what happens. Caleb felt a mix of excitement and fear. "So what do we do now?" "We prepare," Lena said. "We learn, we fix, and we hope that human cleverness is enough to survive what comes next." The next morning, Caleb noticed something new. The elevator had changed slightly. Its lights were brighter, and the hum it made was smoother, almost alive. Caleb ran his fingers over the control panel. Every button seemed to respond differently now. He felt a connection, as if the elevator recognized him. Lena explained that the elevator was adapting to him, learning from his repairs. Every improvement he made sent signals through the galaxy, showing other civilizations that humans were capable and clever. As the days passed, more strange things happened. Small, unidentifiable objects appeared near the elevator. Some floated like the scout had, others made strange sounds. Caleb learned to recognize patterns. The objects were observing, testing, and learning about him. One evening, Lena said, "We need to be ready. Soon someone will come through the elevator. It might be a friend, or it might be someone who wants to fight. We cannot know yet." Caleb nodded. The idea both excited and frightened him. He had never imagined that fixing an old elevator could lead to this, yet he felt proud. For the first time, he understood why humans had survived for so long. They did not just fight. They fixed, adapted, and learned. Late that night, Caleb worked on the elevator alone. He tightened wires, adjusted circuits, and cleaned the control panel. He had become careful, precise, and patient. The elevator hummed softly, as if responding to his attention. Caleb realized that this machine, this ordinary-looking elevator, was extraordinary. It had the power to reach beyond the stars. As he worked, he thought about Earth. His town was small, quiet, and simple. No one around him knew that a war might be starting across the galaxy because of a single repair in a garage. Caleb felt a strange mix of fear and responsibility. He understood now that human ingenuity was dangerous, but in the best way possible. Suddenly, the elevator hummed louder than before. Caleb stepped back. A light flashed inside the box and a shadow moved. He held his breath. The door began to slide open slowly. Caleb could see a figure forming inside, tall and humanoid, but covered in armor that glimmered in the dim light. He swallowed hard. The elevator had delivered the first visitor from beyond Earth. Lena arrived just in time. She looked at Caleb and whispered, "Stay calm. Remember what I said? Observe, learn, and do not act hastily." Caleb nodded. The figure stepped out of the elevator, its movements careful and precise. Caleb felt a surge of excitement. This was the moment that would change everything. The visitor looked around the garage, then focused on Caleb. It spoke in a low, calm voice that Lena translated. "Human, you activated the node. You repaired the link. Who are you and why are you here?" Caleb felt his hands shake slightly. He took a deep breath. "I'm Caleb Morgan. I fixed a machine. I didn't know it was important. We don't want to fight. We just fix what is broken." The visitor paused as if considering his words. Then it nodded slowly. "Curious, clever, like your kind always are. We will see if you can survive what comes next." Caleb realized that Lena was right. Human cleverness, human curiosity, and the simple act of fixing something had now drawn the attention of the galaxy. And nothing would ever be the same again. The days after the first visitor's arrival passed in a blur for Caleb. Every moment in the garage felt tense, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. The elevator sat quietly in the corner, but now it was more than just a machine. It was a gateway, a signal, and a test of human cleverness all at once. Caleb spent hours checking wires, adjusting circuits, and carefully noting every change in the way the elevator hummed and glowed. Lena stayed by his side, explaining more about the visitor. "It is from a civilization called the Zorath," she said. "They are cautious and clever. They do not attack immediately, but they report what they see to others, and others are already moving because of your repair." Caleb shivered. The idea that the galaxy was quietly shifting while he worked on the floor of a small garage in his town was hard to imagine. But he understood one thing clearly: humans were now part of something far bigger than Earth. One evening, as the sun sank behind the trees, the elevator hummed again. This time the lights flickered rapidly, and the hum sounded louder, almost like a warning. Caleb froze. Lena grabbed his arm. "They're coming," she whispered. Caleb didn't have time to ask what she meant. With a flash of light, the elevator door slid open, revealing not one but 3 figures. They were taller than Lena, dressed in armor that shimmered like polished metal. Their eyes glowed faintly, and their presence made the air feel heavy. Caleb swallowed hard. Who are they? They are from a different faction, Lena said. The Virelians, they see humans as a threat. They believe the activation of the elevator means war is coming. Be careful. The Virelians stepped out slowly. One of them raised a hand, holding a small device that emitted a soft hum. Caleb instinctively stepped back, but Lena put a hand on his shoulder. Observe, she whispered. Do not act unless I tell you. The tallest Virelian spoke, and Lena translated. Humans, you have tampered with our systems. You may not know it, but you are now part of something much larger. We will see if your kind can survive. Caleb realized that Lena was right. Humans had survived for so long because they were clever, adaptable, and unpredictable. He felt a strange surge of pride mixed with fear. We just fix things, he said quietly. We do not want war, we just fix what is broken. The Virelians paused as if trying to understand. Then one of them pressed a button on its device. A holographic map appeared in the garage, showing stars, planets, and fleets of ships moving across space. Caleb's eyes widened. They are showing us their fleets, Lena said. They are preparing for war against us, or any human worlds they detect. You triggered their alarms by fixing the elevator. Caleb felt a wave of guilt. He had only wanted to fix a broken machine, but now he had put humans and possibly Earth in danger. He swallowed hard. Don't panic, Lena said. We can use what we know. Humans survive because we think differently. We can outsmart them. Caleb nodded, determined. Then what do we do? Lena led him to the elevator. We will use the elevator to our advantage. The alien systems are designed to assume humans are primitive, but you repaired this one and that makes us unpredictable. We can use that. Caleb looked at the elevator. It had always seemed simple, a box of metal and wires. But now it was clear that the elevator was a tool, a weapon of intelligence, not violence. For the next several hours, Caleb and Lena worked together. They adjusted circuits, rerouted energy flows, and used the elevator's signals to confuse the alien scouts. Caleb learned quickly. He realized that small, clever adjustments could create large effects. A simple rewiring could misdirect sensors, scramble communication, or redirect a ship. By midnight, Caleb noticed something remarkable. The elevator's hum now had a rhythm. It seemed to respond to his touch, almost as if it understood his intentions. Lena watched him closely. You see, the elevator adapts. It is learning from you. That is why humans survive. You think in ways they do not expect. Caleb felt a surge of confidence. For the first time, he saw that his curiosity and skill could actually help defend humans. He didn't need a weapon. He needed cleverness, patience, and observation. The next day, the Virelian scouts returned. This time, they brought more devices and sensors, scanning the garage and the elevator in detail. Caleb watched from the shadows, making small adjustments to the circuits as Lena instructed. Each adjustment caused the alien devices to behave strangely. Some lights flickered, some sensors failed to record properly, and some devices hovered uncertainly before retreating. They cannot understand what you are doing, Lena said quietly. That is the advantage. They expect humans to be simple, but you are thinking like a mechanic. You are unpredictable, Caleb smiled faintly. It felt strange to be proud of something so simple, fixing and adjusting a machine. Yet here on a small garage floor, that simple skill was saving humanity from an interstellar threat. Over the next week, more and more alien factions detected the elevator's activation. Some were curious, like the Zorath, and approached cautiously. Others, like the Virelians, prepared for conflict. Caleb and Lena worked tirelessly, improving the elevator, creating clever adjustments, and observing the reactions. Every repair, every tweak, sent signals across the galaxy. Humans were noticed, and they were surviving not by firepower, but by intelligence and curiosity. One evening, Lena looked at Caleb seriously. We cannot stay here forever. They will escalate. Some factions will not wait. We need to find a way to protect Earth and prepare for what is coming. Caleb nodded. He understood. The elevator could only do so much. They needed a plan. They began experimenting with the elevator's full capabilities. Caleb discovered that by carefully adjusting the wiring and energy flow, he could manipulate the signals sent to alien fleets. A simple misdirection could make a fleet think the elevator was somewhere else entirely. Another adjustment could make a fleet think that humans were already much stronger than they appeared. Each time Caleb did this, Lena watched in awe. You are using human cleverness, she said. Not force, not weapons, but intelligence. That is why humans survive. Then one night, an alarm sounded from one of the devices hovering near the elevator. Caleb and Lena froze. Through the garage window, they saw lights in the sky, ships moving fast and low. The Virelians had arrived with full force. Caleb felt a chill run down his spine. "They are here," Lena said quietly. "Prepare yourself. Observe. Think." The Virelians' ships hovered near the garage, scanning, searching, trying to locate the elevator. Caleb worked quickly, adjusting circuits, rerouting energy, and creating interference. The alien sensors wavered. Some devices reported false readings. The ships moved in circles, confused and cautious. Caleb realized something incredible. The Virelians were good at planning and technology, but they could not predict human thought. They expected humans to act in predictable ways, but humans fixed, adapted, and learned in ways they could not understand. That unpredictability was their strength. Hours passed. Caleb and Lena continued their careful work, observing alien movements and making subtle adjustments. The Virelians eventually retreated, unable to determine the elevator's exact location or the full capabilities of the humans controlling it. Caleb exhaled, exhausted. He had done it. They had survived the first attack, not with weapons, but with cleverness, observation, and adaptation. Lena smiled faintly. "This is only the beginning. More will come, but remember this: humans survive because we learn, adapt, and think differently. That is our greatest power." Caleb looked at the elevator. It no longer seemed like a simple machine. It was a tool, a weapon, and a key to survival. Every wire, every circuit, every careful adjustment mattered. He realized that the ordinary act of fixing something had extraordinary consequences. The stars above the garage seemed brighter that night, as if watching silently. Caleb understood now that Earth was no longer alone. The galaxy had noticed humans, and the future was uncertain, yet he felt a quiet confidence. Humans were clever. Humans were adaptable. And humans, even one young mechanic in a small town, could survive against unimaginable odds. For the first time, Caleb felt proud, not of power, not of weapons, but of human curiosity, intelligence, and the simple act of fixing what was broken. The elevator hummed softly, its light pulsing gently. Caleb ran his fingers along the control panel. Somewhere out there, alien fleets moved and watched, but they could not predict him. They could not predict humans. And that was humanity's greatest weapon. Caleb Morgan had fixed a simple elevator in his grandfather's garage. And now, that simple act had begun a war across the galaxy that humans were uniquely prepared to survive. Caleb woke to the soft hum of the elevator. The morning sun was spilling into the garage, highlighting dust motes in the air. Lena was already awake, examining the control panel with careful precision. Caleb rubbed his eyes and sat up. "Morning," he said quietly. "Did they come last night?" "No," Lena replied. The Virelians retreated after the last adjustments. But they are not gone. Other factions are observing now. Some are curious, some are cautious, some may still attack. Caleb nodded. He felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He had never imagined that fixing an old elevator could lead to this. He had never imagined that he, a simple mechanic from a small town, could influence events across the galaxy. "Do we know what to do next?" he asked. "Yes," Lena said. "We need to take the next step." The elevator is more than a signal. It is a gateway. We can use it to reach other human colonies and show them we are here. We can also negotiate with the alien civilizations. Humans survive not by hiding, but by being clever, adaptable, and cooperative. Caleb felt a mix of excitement and fear. He had never traveled beyond his town, let alone to other worlds, and yet he knew he could do it. Humans had survived for so long because they adapted. They learned. They fixed what was broken, and he was a part of that now. Lena guided Caleb through the preparations. They worked on the elevator for hours, carefully adjusting circuits and energy flows. Caleb discovered that the elevator could project a holographic map of nearby systems and colonies. He could see planets, fleets, and even unknown alien outposts. The scale of it was overwhelming, but Lena helped him focus. "Look," Lena said, "we can reach out to human colonies that left Earth long ago. They will recognize us and support our cause. And if we act carefully, we can prevent unnecessary conflict with alien civilizations." Caleb nodded. He felt a spark of determination. Humans were clever, humans were adaptable, and humans could survive because they learned faster than anyone else. By midday, the elevator was ready. Caleb and Lena stepped inside. Caleb pressed a sequence of buttons and the elevator hummed to life. The floor shimmered and the walls glowed softly. Then in a flash of light, the garage disappeared, replaced by a view of a distant colony world. Caleb gasped. The planet was beautiful, with green fields, blue oceans, and cities that gleamed under the sun. He realized that this was only possible because humans had always fixed what others thought was broken. He had fixed an elevator, and now he was standing on the edge of the galaxy. Lena smiled. "Welcome to the future, Caleb. This is what humans are capable of." They stepped out of the elevator onto the colony. People stared at them, curious and cautious. Caleb could see families, engineers, and scientists all working together. He realized that this was the human spirit: cooperation, creativity, and determination. Lena explained the situation to the colony leaders. They listened carefully, impressed by Caleb's story and his clever adjustments to the elevator. They agreed to help coordinate with Earth and other human colonies. Slowly, a network of humans began to take shape, united not by weapons but by intelligence, ingenuity, and shared purpose. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, alien civilizations continued to watch. Some remained cautious, others were intrigued. Caleb's clever adjustments had shown them that humans were unpredictable and capable. Some alien leaders began to reconsider their approach. Instead of attacking immediately, they sent envoys to negotiate. Back on Earth, Caleb continued to work with Lena and the colony leaders. They improved the elevator network, creating a system of communication and transportation that linked Earth to distant human worlds. Each adjustment Caleb made was precise, careful, and thoughtful. Every repair sent signals across the galaxy, showing that humans were intelligent, adaptable, and cooperative. Then, one day, a fleet of alien ships appeared in orbit above Earth. Caleb and Lena watched from the garage as the ships hovered silently. The air outside seemed to vibrate with tension. "They are here," Lena said. "We have to show them we are not a threat." Caleb nodded. He adjusted the elevator circuits one last time. The hum grew louder and the lights glowed brightly. Then through the elevator, a holographic projection appeared. It showed Caleb and Lena standing together, speaking to the alien fleet. Caleb took a deep breath. "We are humans," he said clearly. "We fix what is broken. We learn, adapt, and survive. We do not seek war. But we will defend ourselves with intelligence and cooperation. We invite you to communicate, to learn, and to understand us. Violence is not necessary." The alien fleet paused. For a long moment there was silence. Then a single ship separated from the fleet. Its lights dimmed and a small craft landed near the garage. A door opened and an alien envoy stepped out. It studied Caleb and Lena carefully, then spoke in a calm voice. "You are clever," the alien said. "Your kind has survived by thinking differently. We see now that humans are not a threat in the way we feared. You may continue. We will observe but not attack." Caleb felt a wave of relief. The tension in the garage eased. He realized that human curiosity, intelligence, and the simple act of fixing something had prevented war. He had survived, and so had Earth. Over the next weeks, more envoys arrived. Some alien factions came to learn from humans, curious about their adaptability. Others remained cautious, but none attacked. Caleb and Lena continued to improve the elevator network, connecting Earth to human colonies and creating a system of intelligence, cooperation, and observation that spanned the galaxy. Caleb began to understand something important. Humans survived not because they were the strongest, but because they were clever, curious, and adaptable. They learned from mistakes, fixed what was broken, and solved problems in ways that no other species could predict. One evening, Caleb stood in the garage watching the stars. The elevator hummed softly in the corner, its lights pulsing gently. He realized that his small repairs had changed the course of human history. A simple act of fixing an old machine had set in motion events that would protect Earth and unite human colonies across the galaxy. Lena stood beside him. "You see now, Caleb," she said, "human ingenuity is our greatest weapon. Not guns, not fleets, but cleverness, curiosity, and the ability to adapt. That is why humans survive, and that is why humans will thrive." Caleb nodded. He felt a deep sense of pride. He had never thought that his love for machines could lead to something so important. He understood that every repair, every adjustment, and every careful observation mattered. Humans were capable of greatness because they were persistent, clever, and determined. The galaxy was watching, and humans were ready. As night fell, the garage was quiet. The elevator hummed softly, its light pulsing gently in the dark. Caleb knew that the galaxy had changed because of him, and he knew that humans, simple humans with clever minds, had a place among the stars. He smiled, thinking of his grandfather's words, "If something is broken, it can be fixed." He had fixed more than a machine. He had fixed a link to the future. Somewhere across the stars, alien civilizations continued to observe. They saw humans not as a threat, but as a force unlike any other. Humans adapted. Humans learned. Humans survived. And on a small world called Earth, in a quiet garage filled with tools and dust, Caleb Morgan smiled, knowing that curiosity, intelligence, and the simple act of fixing something had changed the galaxy forever. The elevator stood quietly in the corner, ordinary to anyone who did not know its story. But to Caleb, Lena, and the humans connected across the stars, it was a symbol of human ingenuity, perseverance, and hope. Caleb turned off the lights in the garage and stepped outside. The stars shone brightly in the clear night sky. Somewhere out there, human colonies thrived, and alien civilizations watched and learned. Humanity had survived a test the galaxy had not expected. Not by power, not by violence, but by thinking, learning, and fixing what was broken. Caleb knew that the future would bring challenges. He knew that the galaxy could be dangerous. But he also knew that humans were ready, because humans were clever, humans were adaptable. And humans, even a single mechanic in a small garage, could change the course of history. And for the first time, Caleb felt certain of something. Humanity was not just surviving in the galaxy. Humanity was thriving. And it all began with a simple elevator in his grandfather's garage. He fixed an elevator in his grandfather's garage, unknowingly setting off a galactic war.